Too much internet.
And welcome to another episode of the Too Much Internet Podcast. I know if you're on YouTube right now, you're just giggly, you're excited, you're like, oh my God, I see a fourth person. Who's that? Are we replacing Karina? Not yet. But that being said, we do have a guest today for this episode of the TMI Podcast. And we would like to let's have her introduce herself. How about that? That'll be a little easier because I'm going to suck at this introduction. So can you let us know? So. I know. Let me stutter. I'm nervous. I'm excited because I feel like I'm going to figure something out by myself today that I'm not going to want to figure out. And it's going to be too much, but it's going to be like a lot of too much. Like the last 3, can you imagine like leading up to this, the last 2 days, it has been like an emotional roller coaster. For me, yeah. Like it's been like conversations I've had, like experiences I've had that I was like, oh my God. And I think I know whose fault it is. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, guys. My name is Tamar, and I am the creator and host of the Bruja Podcast.
Hey, shout out to Tamar. Tamar is here, guys. Yes, Tamar, we wanted to have you on, no doubt. I know you're restarting your podcast. You guys just dropped an episode recently. Can you let us know what that podcast is about?
Yeah, so it's basically a witchy podcast. It's an original witchy podcast. It's me and my co-host, Wandechi. We're 2 Brujas based in NYC, and we just talk about astrology, tarot, metaphysics, holistic healing, anything that falls in the umbrella of witchcraft and spirituality.
Well, how come you guys did Bruja Podcast? Why Bruja?
Because we're both Latinas. And when I created the podcast first, and then she kind of came on board like a couple of months after. But the podcast actually started as a challenge. So 2 of my friends were doing like an Anchor. So Anchor's an app. That's where I do the podcast. I do all the editing on there. And they were doing like this 30-day challenge at the beginning of 2019. Okay. And they actually told me that I should make that podcast. They came up with the name because they know I'm Latina, and that's pretty much how the name came about. I wanted to use that specifically to focus on my heritage. So I'm Honduran, Central American. So I wanted to focus on that. Dope.
Now, how long is it a weird question to say how long you've been a bruja?
No, it's not a weird question at all. It's funny. Someone actually asked me that the other day, and I feel like I've always been one. It's just, I wasn't conscious of it until I was in my mid-20s because my mom wouldn't let me practice with candles or anything. So I couldn't really do work until I moved out. So that's when I really started to do my practice.
Because I guess for me, when I hear bruja or when I hear witch, clearly I'm going to go into the stereotypical like, green face, big nose, pointy hat, broom, witch's brew, like all that stuff. So like when I saw that, you're right. Yeah. Like, you're like this, the pot is bubbling and then you're just like, oh no, what spell is she going to cast? But like, I feel like that's just the stigma of it. So what does it really mean to be a bruja?
You know, it's a lot of different things. For me, actually, Wandechi used a really good word the other day. We were talking because I was asking her what kind of bruja is she, and she said that she was an eclectic bruja, which is actually what I would refer to myself as too. So basically, it's that you don't follow a specific guideline. You don't follow specific rules. Like there's certain witches that are like light witches. They only work with good magic. There's certain witches that do other things. Other things.
That freaks me out. I knew, because I'm like light witches. I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, nice things. And then you said, and other things. What are these
other things? I mean, there's some witches that, they do things like hexing. So that's like cursing people. There's some witches that, manipulate individuals. That's why I'm like other things. That's like dark magic is what we call it. But it's actually interesting because for me, that's the interesting thing about like spirituality is I don't see any rules with it. I don't see it as black and white. So like what's good to one person might be bad to somebody else. And what's bad to somebody else might be good for somebody else. So that's why for me, I use the term also eclectic. And it's one of my goals to talk about that in the podcast, to kind of show people that there's different ways to be a witch. There's different ways to practice spirituality. There's no one rule. There's no one set guideline. There's no one path to it.
So let's say if Karina wanted to be a witch, right? What's like step number one?
claiming it. She wants to be a witch, claiming it. She's feeling I'm a witch, and then
you want to be a witch?
What?
You want to be a witch?
You want to be a witch?
I think I'm okay for now.
Now, do you have now? Because bruja, like I guess in Spanish, with ending with the A, would be more sort of a feminine title. Now, can you be a witch and be a male, or is there a different title?
A man.
You can be a witch and be a man. Sometimes we use the word brujo.
Okay,
so we use
that
the O.
Right.
I think instead of witch, I think the term is warlock.
Warlock?
I think so.
Was
Warlock
it muted?
No. I think I heard warlock, but I didn't know if it was actually.
I was playing around.
And I was like, this guy's been playing World of Warcraft too much. Like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Harry Potter.
This guy's been watching too much Harry Potter. Like, I don't really know. So, like, because again, for me, witches, spells, hexes, that's all like movie, book, pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
So what would you say is something that's almost, I mean, I know there's no good or bad, but what's something essential to being a witch? Because I know you could just claim it, but I guess at the same time, you could almost just claim to be anything. What is like something that you could tell if someone is or is not a witch? Because I'm assuming there's also fakes at the same time.
Oh yeah, there are people that try to do spell work and they have no idea what they're doing. But I mean, the essential thing to being a witch would be like, okay, if I were to really tell that someone's a witch, like the minute I start talking about crystals or tarot, that they're like immediately interested. Like, that's for me, like the way that I'm able to recognize a couple of different, I have a lot of like bruja friends. So it's a lot of women that I know that do it. But a lot of times, like if I start to talk about tarot or astrology, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They don't even have questions. They already know.
Tarot and tarot cards go hand in hand.
Tarots and cards, yeah. Tarot cards, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I think I've done that. I don't know about y'all, but I've gotten a reading, I think, once before professionally from like a corner when they were like, yo, come through, it's $5. And I'm like, oh, I got $5. And then I went through. But as I could tell from your face, that's probably not the best idea. Why is that?
Yeah. So a lot of those people run a lot of scams. So sometimes I don't know how your reading was actually. How was it? It's the first question I want to ask before I answer.
It's 2020. That was like almost like 7 years ago. And at that time, I didn't have a girlfriend. I was just going into college. I was like trying to figure myself out. So like I'll never forget that she was like, I could tell you really like a certain lady, which I felt like was very generic because you could just tell any guy or girl, oh, I could tell you're feeling somebody. So I was just like, but at that moment I was like, oh my God, I am feeling for someone. Because at that time I was trying to date someone who had a man, and it was just it was just something I shouldn't have been doing. Right. It was drama, which I always had gotten myself into. So I was just like, oh my God, then maybe it's meant to be because she said that. But I'm obviously a little skeptical because I'm over here just paying $5 to get a certain reading in comparison to when I know like a friend of mine, his grandmother does readings off of like drinking espresso and I guess reading the lines.
Oh, they read the lines.
Right. So what are other ways that people that you can give a reading? What are other
ways that you can give a reading?
Mm-hmm.
So you mean tarot or just overall reading?
Overall, like I know there's tarot, but then I know like that coffee method that I told you. Is there other ways?
An astrology reading. That's what I do. So I literally look at like a person's birth chart. I don't know if you are familiar with that term. But like beyond reading your zodiac sign, I can kind of like read where your other planets are. I can read your whole life through a birth chart, actually.
My whole life?
Yeah.
If you were to look at Karina right now, just by looking at her aura, right? Do y'all believe in aura? Is aura a thing?
Yeah, I don't read auras. So there are different people that can read auras. I can't see or read auras. I can kind of get like an intuitive hit about somebody, but I can't like see colors or any of that sort of thing.
Okay. But if you were to just look at Karina, right? And you don't know what Karina's sign is, do you?
I do.
You do know?
I know Hector and Karina's sign. I don't know yours, but I have a feeling with what sign you might be.
What sign do you think I am?
Especially considering how we started this podcast with all the what was it?
Demands.
That you had?
The niches, the adjustment.
No, they're
Better
demands.
words, guys.
Yeah.
Better
The
words.
demands.
You're very particular, and that reminds me a lot of Virgos.
Oh,
I am a Virgo.
zinger.
Our birthday's coming up, so yes.
Yeah.
What's your sign, if you don't mind me asking?
Scorpio.
A Scorpio. So what's
We got
that?
two
That's like.
Scorpios and two Virgos in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Hey.
So when these, so from my experiences of like, and I'll be real, from girlfriends I've had, they're the
Okay.
ones that usually come across to me about my sign and stuff, or from an exception, Hector and Karina both have this like app where like you guys know your moons and there's
Co-star.
Co-star. Yeah,
Co-star.
co-star.
and I've had a buddy of mine tell me about that. So now you got two Virgos and two Scorpios here, right? Is that a good mix?
Yeah, totally. So Virgos are earth signs. So they're more like practical, down to earth, more action oriented. Or action oriented.
Don't hype up anymore. These guys up enough.
And Scorpios are water signs, so like emotional. They can be like sometimes intense as well. And what's another? I'm trying not to like gas my own sign up. Intuitive.
Guess it up.
We're very intuitive.
Please.
So earth and water actually mixed really well, really well.
What about fire?
If we were to throw a fire sign into the mix, like
Yes.
between Virgos and Scorpios,
A Scorpio, yeah.
it would depend. It would depend on the fire sign.
Okay.
For the most part, I would say we can get along with fire signs. The only thing is fire signs tend to be very like life of the party. Sometimes they keep going, don't know when to stop. I'm not trying to throw shade, but it's just the truth. And earth signs are
Sounds
just
like
more
shade.
relaxed. Yeah, sometimes I do that. And sometimes like water signs with fire signs, just, we tend to be introverted. So we want our own like space.
Okay, I feel that.
So
I feel that.
sometimes, yeah.
What's a sign that undoubtedly any of us will not mess with or fuck with?
So between Virgos and Scorpios, who they wouldn't mess with?
Let's start off with Virgos first. But let's start with Virgos. Like, what sign would we not fuck with?
I want to say Sagittarius.
Why is that?
Oh man.
I want to say that's so. Okay, so when I say this, what I always tell people about astrology is you also have to look at like your moon sign and your rising, so not just your sun.
Okay.
But for entertainment purposes, I would say Sagittarius for Virgos, just because sometimes Sagittariuses can rub them off the wrong way because they can be pretty blunt.
Okay.
And sometimes a bit impulsive about things, which I think Virgos don't really mess with. And for Scorpios, I would say Gemini, and I'm saying that from my own personal experience.
Gemini, I've seen on the Twitterverse to be a hated
No
thing.
one likes a Gemini.
Why is that?
You know, the two top hated signs are
Two-faced.
Gemini and Scorpio. See, that people say that, and that's not true.
About
It's not
Geminis? Like Geminis are
true.
two-faced?
Yeah, they say that they're two-faced, and I always have to come to their defense
Okay.
because I'm just like, they're not two-faced. They just can adapt really well.
Right.
They process lots of information at a really like high speed. So sometimes they change their opinion in a day because they get new information. And some people think of that as two-faced, and it's not. I mean, from a negative standpoint, like if you were to look at the negative, like every sign has a like positive and negative. And negative would be sometimes, being that way. But
If you want to look at it
come to their
positively,
defense.
you could say they're versatile.
They're they are. They are, and I think they get hated on for that because people don't know how to handle that.
Okay, why are you so Hector? Why are you like so? Wait, is there a set? You said no. This is Gemini, right? That we're talking about.
Yeah, it's Gemini.
I said Gemini, yeah.
I honestly don't know any Geminis. Well, I might have learned. I might have like interacted with a Gemini, but I don't know that they were a Gemini. So
So you gonna say they're two-faced?
I'm just being extra. That's how I am.
This is too much into the podcast. Sometimes we just too much, you know. That's just, it'd be like
I like to joke around. That's all.
he's too joking. I know, right? Such a what?
You're a joke. Shut up.
What are you getting?
What?
So wait, I have a question. So
Yeah.
I've had the most stereotypical experiences about people trying to assess my personality from my sign. So they'll be like, they'll misinterpret actually more times than often. And they'll be like, oh, you're such a, I can't even tell you from the top of my head what was the actual sign they said, but they'll misinterpret what sign I am. Yeah, misinterpret what sign I am, right? Do you feel like, I guess your astrology sign, the compatibility, that means a lot or it doesn't mean much?
That means a lot. But like I said, you have to look at, so like when I'm like, you're a Virgo, right? But what that means is so basically with astrology, it's looking at where the planets were, like their positions. So that's just your sun sign. So your zodiac sign is actually your sun. It's where the sun was when you were born. But there's so many other planets to look at. So like if you're looking at love compatibility, you actually want to look at your Venus and Mars sign.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Someone's been using co-star often.
So your Venus and your Mars sign, but also your moon sign too, because your moon shows your emotions.
Okay.
So like, for example, you as a Virgo could, you know, be interested in like a Capricorn, who's also another earth sign. And you think you guys would get along great, but your moon sign is two totally different opposite signs that don't get along. So emotionally...
What's the date for Capricorn? That's the date? Like the birthday...
period.
Yeah. Because that's the only way I know association. Yeah.
That's like Christmas. So anyone born during Christmas is a Capricorn. So like December 20th to like January 20th.
So my significant other right now is a Capricorn.
But you also want to look at their moon sign. Like I'm saying.
I want to look at their moon
Venus
sign. Oh, right.
And their Mars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to look at all those other things.
So let's say, dang. So I don't know what that is then, right? So I'm a Virgo. She's a Capricorn. From your experience, is that a fit or not?
Yeah, you guys are both earth signs.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are both earth signs. I'm
what
both
would
very
not be a
ambitious
fit for me then?
Sagittarius.
Oh,
Virgos and Sagittarius is
Karina, you're not even like you know something.
Signs? Do you know someone who's a Sagittarius, Karina?
I have. I like kind of dated them and they dropped out of nowhere.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. Yeah.
So how does that work? I can't assume that just because signs are compatible from, I guess, however you guys read it, right? That means it'll officially work and whatever. But now let's say a situation like Karina, you know, I guess things fell out. And I guess if it's the same person who I'm thinking about, right?
Ghosted, just disappeared.
So
ghosted.
And I mean ghosted. Like we
gotta
talk about who this is. Who's this person?
I'll say it to you.
We'll talk about this
text. Yeah. But so that person did go MIA. So what does that mean if there's anything to read from that, or how should she see that for the future of her dating other people that are Sagittarius?
Don't date Sagittarius.
Just stay away. But I mean, what I would say is, Sagittarius tend to be very adventurous. So when you mentioned that, I was like, damn, that's such a Sagittarian move to make.
Yeah.
Sagittarius are the type to like literally like pack up and go to like, I don't know, Eastern Asia just randomly. And you won't hear from them for like months and they drop back into your life randomly. Yeah.
So weird. What are Capricorns like?
Capricorns are super ambitious. Okay. That's like the boss sign. Like that's.
Oh, I wish you didn't say that because I know she's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be like.
she's the boss. So like Capricorns are like, they're the ones that will build an empire and sustain that.
Okay.
So that's good. That's good for Virgos because Virgos are very hard workers. Really hard workers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm taking that up. So that being said, right? So wait, Karina. So like Sagittarius, what's another person you dated sign? The longest you've dated sign. What was her sign?
Their sign was a Scorpio.
Their sign was a Scorpio.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Sorry, I didn't mean to out it out. I was just trying to figure out how to say it properly without saying names.
You still fucked it up.
So their sign was a Scorpio. What is that? Does that make sense? Does that work?
Yeah, I mentioned Virgos and Scorpios get along.
Okay. So
listen.
What about
we get along?
What about your person, Hector? See, I'm trying to figure out how to say that. Yeah.
We know he's
the longest-
straight.
I mean, so, but like, I don't know.
Siri was like, whoop. My person, the person I dated.
Yeah, your
I'm
person.
like, person. I don't got a person.
Not on some Grey's Anatomy type shit. I mean, like, your person. Like, whoever, not that person that's there on the side. I mean, your last person. What was their sign?
I think my history is known. Nancy, she was a Libra.
Whoa, I didn't say names, but all right.
I don't mind saying names. I don't mind saying names.
You say Libra?
She was a Libra. She is a Libra.
One girl, the girl I was dating during that time that I got that reading was a Libra.
A Libra?
Dude, yeah.
Libras are like
Libras?
balance or some shit, right?
Yeah, Libras for the most part get along with most of the signs. Like Libra is right before Scorpio and it's after Virgo. So there are like some similarities and some differences.
Okay.
It's tough for me to say. It's tough for me to say because Libra's an air sign. So sometimes that can be compatible with Scorpios and with Virgos, but it could also go south because Libras can sometimes be indecisive and Scorpios in particular can be really intense.
Indecisive? So Hector's
indecisive.
So Hector's a Libra, right? Is that what we're saying?
No, he's a Scorpio.
Just because I'm indecisive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just
because I'm indecisive doesn't mean that
I clinched onto the indecisiveness, and I was like, so
indecisive. Thanks.
So he was born the wrong time because his indecisiveness is so wild to me that I have to just. He has to be.
He might have Libra placements. Do you have Libra placements?
I don't. I might have one or two. Hold up.
He might that could be maybe why he might have some Libra placements.
Only my Venus.
What is that?
Yeah, there you go. So in terms of love, Venus and Libra can be very romantic, but they can also be very indecisive with love. Yeah.
Hector.
Sorry, I had to read you.
Has learning such things like this your practice? Well, what age did you start really practicing being a bruja? Like you felt like you started hitting to where is almost your full potential at the moment.
Wait, what was that? Sorry, you cut off the last part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what age did you start really like focusing on being a bruja?
It was in my mid-20s, but with astrology, it's actually funny. Astrology I've been studying since I was actually 7 years old.
7 years old?
I was a kid. Yeah, Whoa. I was a kid. So my mom, I think like a lot of Latino parents would watch Walter Mercado.
Oh, yes, sir.
Walter Mercado.
So she'd be in the kitchen and she'd be cooking or whatever. And so what she would tell me to do is she'd be like, listen to my sign and then tell me what he says. So I got used to doing that and used to learning about all the signs. And then she gave me a book about Scorpios. So I started with my own sign and learned about my own sign and then once I got like a computer with internet, I then started like surfing the web about astrology. So I started with astrology first.
Okay.
But when I actually decided to like do candle work and stuff like that was in my mid-20s. So like a few years ago.
What is candle work?
So that's like doing spells with candles.
And does it hurt?
No.
I don't know what candle work is. The only candle work I know is, look, I'm coming out from a very open perspective. The only candle work I know is dripping candle, and that's it.
That is not what I mean.
Or prayer candles, or candles for vigils, or
that's an example. Yeah, it's like praying. Okay. You like some people will get mad at me when I say this, but like prayer is a ritual. Prayer is a ritual.
Oh my God!
A lot of people that are like religious, like Catholic and Christian, get mad at me when I say that. But I'm like, it is what it is.
Why is that such a? I mean, I definitely don't. I mean,
have you seen it? They're very pagan in a way. Like all these rituals that they do, like
a lot of the rituals were taken from the
smoke and shit.
I mean, like even eating the body and blood of Christ, quote unquote, like that's a ritual.
All that.
So I see that, but it's funny. That's funny how it's taboo to say the word ritual and it's seen such in a bad way. But why do you think it's seen such in a bad way?
It's a stereotype. Again, it's a stereotype. Actually, I don't remember off the top of my head like the dates, but like when the Catholics were converting the pagans, what they would often do is take their rituals and kind of bridge it with like Catholic traditions, and kind of convert people that way. And so what they would also do is kind of like spread lies about paganism being, you know, barbaric or wrong or evil. Even you even see it now, like you said, when you hear the word witch, you have certain stereotypes. And a lot of people see witches as evil. Like there are certain parts in Africa where you cannot say you're a witch.
And what happens?
They will come after you and they will basically end your life.
Whoa!
So it's dark. It's
whoa,
dark.
Whoa,
yeah.
Whoa,
you can't in certain places in Africa you can't say you're a witch.
Have you ever seen a time where you being a bruja has been more so harmful than I guess like helpful?
Like in my own life?
In your own experiences, yeah.
Oh, in my own experience, yeah. So some people, when I was talking about people that do like dark stuff with witchcraft, I've often seen in the spiritual community where there are people who weaponize witchcraft. So for example, and it's so stupid, they might get into like a Facebook argument with somebody and they might get mad over like some stupid comment. And the next thing I know, they go write a status where they're like, I'm going to hex this person. And I'm like, whoa.
Wait, what?
Relax, calm down. Yeah, there's some people that let's say
I got on Hector's nerves. I asked for too much. I yelled at him. I told him, you know what? That little piece of color on your hair, disgusting. Throw it out. I don't know why you did it, right? Let's say I did all that, right? I'm not just spurting out my feelings, but no. But now let's say Hector hears that and he goes, fuck that bitch. I'm going to go and put a hex on him, right? Is it that easy or is it kind of hard to put a hex?
Depending on the person, it can be very, very easy to do.
Like the person you're doing it to?
Like, you meaning whether it will work, the hex? Is what you're talking about?
Is it easy to put a hex on someone? Depending on, I guess, like it would have, like, let's say if I just started doing, is witchcraft a proper word or is that?
He's trying to figure out how someone would go about actually doing it.
I guess how would someone go about it and how easy is it in just like a beginner witch? like level 1 witch.
This shit's gonna flop, man.
So okay, I get very hesitant to like say specifics.
Don't. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I don't think it's good information that you're trying to like put out there.
If the wrong person hears this, it could be bad.
We're gonna.
But what I will say, I'm not trying to get that information, but it can be real easy to do. It can be as simple as like sending a thought. Like I'll just put that information out there. It
Sending
can be as simple
a thought?
as that. A thought, yeah. There's some people who are powerful enough that they can manifest some things that are not great for other people. But again, it depends on how, the power of that person and how long they've been studying that. Some witches are a part of covens or groups. So they might have like elders or people that are guides to teach them this kind of stuff, both good and bad. So it depends. It really depends.
I have a cousin who's a witch, and she's dying to have a coven. I don't know why, but she wants to like build one.
Is that hard to come by?
I mean, just have to have people. She wants to like build it with people that like near her. She doesn't want to like have like a coven world like nationwide or something like that. She wants to like in her area so she can like meet with them and shit like that. She has this like whole superiority complex. But.
Is there like a witch app?
Not that I know, but you know what? That's an idea. I might do that.
You know what I'm saying? Connect to Facebook.
I mean, she talks with other witches here and there, like, but there's no one like in her area that she wants to like really get down with.
And guys, make sure you're free to ask any question. I know I have so many questions.
You always drive these.
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Have you ever felt or realized that someone put a hex on you?
No, and I would hope not. Because
is it common for people to? I mean, well, as you just said that someone didn't like a comment on Facebook, and then they just wanted to hex that person. Have you ever felt that way?
No, you want to
there have been times where people have tested my patience. There have been times I haven't done it. Just because for me, I'm very, very careful about that because one of the rules I don't want to say rules, but one of the guidelines people use with witchcraft is whatever you put out there comes back to you.
Oh.
And Yeah, specifically Wiccans. Wiccans in particular.
Wiccans. What are Wiccans?
Wiccans are it's European, so it's pagan. It's a pagan tradition, and it's based in Europe. They have like their own traditions and everything, and they're very much about honoring the earth. So they have a lot of earth deities, and Wiccans have this thing where it's like whatever you do, whether it's good or bad, comes back to you 3 times. So if you put a hex, so if you put a hex on somebody, that could come back to you really badly.
You better be
So
ready
really
to take that.
Why would that be worth to someone over like a Facebook argument then?
See, but that's what I'm saying. Like, those are the kind of people that I stay away from because they're weaponizing spirituality, they're weaponizing witchcraft. You don't want to be around a person like that. Mentally, there's something going on there with that person.
Right.
Like, I stay away from people like that.
Right.
I actually got into an argument with somebody over that. Like, they wrote something and I was like, you're weaponizing spirituality, and they got mad at me and blocked me. And I was like,
yeah, because I can imagine, because there must be, for example, I don't know anything about when it comes to witches, brujeria, etc. But I'm gonna only base it off of the things I know from like stigmas, stereotypes, blah 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 blah. Right? Have you ever had someone come across you, or you've met someone, a significant other, a friend, or new friend, who you told them that you were a witch, and they took it pretty bad? Or do they all take it good because they want to be on your good side?
I wonder that, because I haven't gotten anything bad so far. Mm-hmm. I do, sometimes they would do this like joke, which would like, it wouldn't make me mad, but it would just be like so stupid. They'd be like, don't put like a spell on me. And I'm just like,
okay. That's a terrible joke.
Like, okay.
Kind of funny to me, only because like, I'm not surprised that is such a common thing, maybe. Right. Yeah,
it's just like.
Now, how do you read people usually? Like when it comes to like how has that changed your life when it comes to like meeting new people or dating new people, or maybe even your friends and family since then? I don't know. Do you have friends and family who also are witches?
I'm actually discovering that some of the women in my family have actually, they wouldn't necessarily say that they're witches, but they've done brujeria. Like, I just learned that I had like a great aunt that was a witch or did witchcraft.
How does that make you feel knowing slowly
that? Discovering. It's kind of cool, because at first I thought I was by myself. Like, I was like, I'm the odd one in the family. But then discovering that there are people who do that in my family, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense why a lot of this stuff comes naturally to me.
Right. Now, what are other things you could do as a witch that are outside of, I mean, I know I targeted hexes for a minute because that's probably like the most dramatic thing for outsiders, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. What's another thing that is a part of being a witch that people don't know about?
That people don't know about? You definitely can do a lot of healing work as a witch.
Okay.
There's a lot of healing work that you can do. That's the reason why I definitely had Bondechi join me on the podcast, is because she knows a lot about holistic health.
What is that?
That's something that I don't know a lot about. So basically, just natural remedies. Instead of using over-the-counter medication, you use natural things, herbs. What else? Herbs is like the first thing that comes to my mind, but just natural ingredients to kind of help with different ailments, to help with things from a spiritual point of view. So there's a lot of healing that you can do as a witch.
I have
if you wanted to.
A buddy of mine who and this is not I'm saying that I'm talking about another person, but it's me. It's actually another person, right?
Okay.
This person, from the last year, maybe year and change that I know them, the things that have happened to him, like, I feel like he has some sort of hex on him. I feel like someone did something, or someone's wishing this bad stuff to happen to him. And it's when I say it's bad stuff, it's bad stuff. Like, it's sad. It makes me feel bad to even think about it. How would you, well, first of all, me being an outsider, I don't know. I've never seen him talk about like brujeria and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really necessarily approach him about that. But let's say if he was open to it, what would I tell him, or what would you suggest for him?
He could definitely go to like a botanica. I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
So Botanica is basically, it's like a store where you can get your candles, you can get different kinds of oils.
I do know what that is. There's one on Fordham. There's one on Fordham.
Original Botanica
in Fordham.
There's a lot in the Bronx.
That's the one that I go to.
It's a big one, and when I was around there, it's like right by like where that Sears used to be. It's right across the street from a liquor store.
Original Botanica. That's the one that I go to.
So that's okay. So that one, I remember when I was passing by there, I had to drop my dad off. We were driving, and I had to drop him off at the dentist nearby there, and that one had like a line going out of the store. Why is that shop so popular?
Was it out of the store? Was it in front of the store? Was it like on the side of the building?
It was in the front of the store, like lined up, and then there was social distancing. So maybe it could have been just a social distancing kind of thing, but it was definitely like they were outside of the store lined up, and I think a couple of them had candles with them.
Yeah, that shop is pretty popular. They're one of the biggest botanicas that I know, at least here in New York City. They have everything in there, like everything for pretty much any spiritual path that you're on. Like they have herbs, they have tools that you can use, they have statues.
They got statues.
They have everything.
Oh, is that where that person gets their stuff from? Karina?
Cool. Yeah. Well, we used to go there a lot. So yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Knowing that, interesting. Now, this is gonna be very from far, like over there. I'm reaching from over there.
You're reaching super.
Because if you ever listen to the pod, like we'll talk about like wet ass pussy, and then we'll go into like a whole different thing, right? What is like what is that thing called? And I just thought about it. Fine. Oh, I guess voodoo. There's no correlation of voodoo and brujeria, is there? Or is voodoo the wrong way of talking about brujeria? Because I'm like with brujeria, I still kind of think about I guess a voodoo doll. Yeah, a voodoo doll. Yeah, is that a thing? Is that a real thing, or is that something in correlation at all to brujeria, or are those two separate things, or is voodoo just like kind of like the Hollywood pop culture bullshit way of talking about brujeria?
Okay, so definitely Hollywood has stereotype voodoo. Like what you see in Hollywood is not what voodoo is.
Yeah, there's no bubbles, there's no heat, but there's sacrifices. Sacrifices is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That it is a thing. Yeah,
I don't know if y'all saw her face, and she was like,
yeah, that's a thing. I don't practice voodoo. Even though it's funny, my nickname voodoo is in my nickname, and a friend of mine gave me the nickname Mama Voodoo because I practice witchcraft, and I was like, I'm gonna take that nickname, but I don't do that, because whenever I would actually put that nickname on my Facebook, and I would get DMs where it would be like, do you know voodoo? And I'm like, no, I don't. It's just a nickname. Like, yeah. I don't. But voodoo dolls do exist. They have a purpose. And
which is what's
they
purpose?
Work.
What do you mean? Really, oh no! Oh god!
They work.
What do you mean they work? Okay, so first of all, how do you get a voodoo doll? If you've ever gotten one, or if you know someone who got one.
So this is as far as the research that I know. Again, like I don't practice voodoo, but you can make it. You can make the doll. So the doll is basically one of the terms that's used, I think, for the doll is like a poppet. I think that's an English term. So it's basically like a little doll that you make, and you basically have the intention of who that person is. You can like put the picture of the person or whatever, or if you have like, I don't know, hair from the person, you can attach that. And then this is why if you're ever going to visit someone that's a bruja, don't leave anything personal.
No.
Don't leave anything personal. I'm just going to give you that advice. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Why not?
Don't leave anything personal.
Because then they got control.
What if I bought a pen, and then they obviously got that pen from me, and then I left that pen there? Does that really trace back to me just from that
energy,
association?
Boy.
That's the energy. You have your fingerprints on that. You better hope that you're on their good side and you don't do anything.
Right.
They'll take that pen and they could ruin your whole life with that.
But is it really worth that chance? Because just like you said before, right? If someone were to do a hex, because I guess is a hex the worst thing, and then is there lower tiers of a hex or maybe other bad things you could do to somebody?
Yeah, there's hexes. You can do like domination spells. You can dominate somebody.
What is a
literally,
domination spell?
Yeah, that's
Dominate them, man. What that word means.
Are there
that's,
bottom?
yeah. What?
He's like, I should want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Is that
I just want to put this energy out there, man.
okay, right.
Out there.
You gotta move
I understand.
on.
Okay, yeah, let's move
But
on.
no,
Let's move on.
literally, like if you go to the Botanica, like for example, that Botanica, they have everything. Like you can literally
I'm
find a
curious now.
candle that says domination on it, and it works for that. That's the reason why that Botanica is so popular. They know what they're doing. Like they all their anything that you go there for, like, will work.
How does that stuff work when it comes to like, for example, by the time this is out, it'll be public, but my sister is pregnant and I'm going to be uncle. So fun thing to put out. Thank you. Right. I'm going to be Theo Eddin, right?
Theo.
So one of my friends, his family is into Santeria. I don't know if that correlates to brujeria. Does it?
It can. So when I say brujeria, I use it as an umbrella term, which means it's any form of witchcraft, which is just basically, using or manipulating energy for good or for bad.
Okay, that's actually a great definition. Now, when his sister was pregnant, they put out oranges, and I guess they did something to the oranges, and the oranges the way he explained it was to capture all the bad spirits before this baby was born. How does that work, if you have any understanding of that? Or is there any way to protect a youngin or someone that you care about from bad spirits and maybe, I guess, voodoo or etc.?
So I don't know specifically about Santeria, but like one of the things, whenever it comes to protection work that I do, is I actually use, so original Botanica, you can get a protection oil. So you can get oils that have any type of purpose. So like one thing that you can literally do is get like a white candle, like a female, to represent the woman, and you can dress it with protection oil and any other like oil or herb that has to do with protection, especially for children or babies. And you can burn that, and that can be a way to like do a spell or do a ritual that will have that effect.
Oh, my battery's exhausted, so that explains a lot. That being said, then, is it okay for me to ask? I'll put on the camera right back. But is it okay for me to ask what are spells you've done before?
Yeah, totally. What are spells that I've done before? I have done like money manifestations.
Okay, how does that work?
That's a popular one. Everyone wants money.
Everybody wants money.
Of course.
And there are different ways that I do that. So actually right now I'm charging a candle on my altar. I don't know if y'all can see it, but there's like a green candle somewhere.
Candle on your altar?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm charging a candle on my altar. So basically I'm charging it
with your altar?
Huh?
Is that your altar in the back?
Yeah, right there.
Is that taboo? Can you not show your altar?
Some people don't.
My cousin doesn't.
Yeah, and I totally understand why. For me, pretty much you can always see this, so I kind of blessed it with the intention that whenever I show it, it's for educational purposes.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I make sure to protect my space.
So can someone use that against you if they really wanted to?
Yeah, they can. Whoa. They can.
Damn.
But they won't, because I charged it and I protected it.
How often are you doing all these protection spells? I imagine you have to like constantly put on protection spells here and there.
Yeah, you definitely do. I try to do it at least once a month. So I work with the moon, like the moon cycles. So actually Vondechi and I had, she knows this better than I do, but there's a period, I think it's between the full moon and the new moon. That's the perfect time to do like protection work or banishing work too, like getting rid of anything that's not good. So I usually do it with the moon. So whenever the moon is kind of in a certain position, I think about, sometimes I won't always do like candles. Sometimes I'll literally just do prayers or work with oils instead.
Okay.
Just because it's summertime and I have no AC and it sucks to put a candle on.
Yeah.
During this time, I was doing work.
With that heat.
Yeah, I was doing work like I think it was like a month ago. I was doing like a bunch of candle work, and I had to do it at night because it was just so hot. It was like I did 3 things like back to back. I forgot what they were, but it was too much.
What is the oldest witch, or who is the oldest witch you know? Without saying names or anything like that. Like how strong are they in their craft?
You're asking me who's the oldest witch that I know?
Or who is the most pro witch you know?
Pro witch.
Like professional or like really skilled? Like who's someone like you look up to when it comes to
there's someone there's someone like celebrity witch out there that has so much power.
Or maybe a celebrity witch or something like that, because there's so many
that people look up to.
There's so many random ones. There's so many random people who also just claim that they're into that stuff or they know what they're doing with that stuff, and they don't. So if someone were to be interested in either outside of looking at the Bruja Podcast, obviously we'll put a link down. Who is a influencer or what are things?
Yeah, who's someone you look to for like guidance when it comes to all this stuff, or is it just from your own research?
Right.
A lot of it's from my own research, but when it comes to a celebrity, she hasn't said that she's a witch, but I really feel like she does some witchy stuff. And I really look up to her.
Can we guess who it is, and is it a very popular person?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a woman.
Yes.
Lizzo.
No.
Damn it.
I thought you were gonna guess Beyonce, but
that's who it is.
Oh, Beyonce. Oh,
okay. That's who it is.
That's an obvious one to guess.
That's who it is. Like whenever
Karina,
a song comes out, I'm just like, Beyonce, duh.
Yeah, okay.
Duh.
So whenever a song goes out,
whenever a song goes out, especially now, I've noticed she's really going into her. I don't know how much you guys know about like music and stuff and like vocals.
Like her recent music.
Her recent music. Like if you compare Beyonce. Black is King. I love that. That's like
my cousins have been replaying that shit for like
it's good. 2 weeks now. It's good, but if you pay attention to Black is King though, compared to her earlier work, she uses a lot of her higher registers. So like if you pay attention to her singing, now she tends to use a lot of her lower registers. Her voice is a lot deeper. And I have heard, I cannot corroborate, but I have heard some people say that when they listen to her music, when they like are just kind of chilling or like closing their eyes, they like, I don't want to say they feel things, but like things happen is what I've heard. Things happen.
Are they also high?
I don't know. Maybe they could be.
I feel like when you're in a high state, you can like feel
you feel everything.
Shit.
And then
you feel so much more. A lot of worlds open up.
When the AC is blowing on your back, and then you're just out of it, and then like you just feel the music, and it just goes on.
Are you referring to that video of me? We could put that up.
There is one video of Hector that we had celebrated. I think it was the first time we were celebrating Halloween with
Halloween.
Yeah. And he was under the influence.
I was inebriated.
I was gonna say inebriated. But he
not super.
He wasn't wasted yet because he was
crossfaded. I was crossfaded for sure.
But he, which I have a great question after saying that. But yeah, he felt the music strongly, and usually whenever I do any stuff, that's usually what happens. Yeah, like he was like I was afraid he was gonna overheat. Like I was afraid. Like you want to watch out for your friend. You want to make sure they're good. Like whenever you're doing stuff and you're under the influence. So I was so afraid that he was gonna overheat. But like my man was just like feeling all the music, dancing through, and I was like, okay, cool. He's feeling himself.
Were those the dance moves he was doing?
I was not.
It was way better than that. It was way better than that. Trust me. This man is a dancing machine. But that being said, under the influence, right? Drugs and brujeria. What is the cross between the two, or is there any cross between the two?
There are some people who, how can I put it? They might like when they're doing readings, they might like some weed or something to kind of get them in a sort of it's like a meditative state. Like sometimes when I'm doing readings, I get into like this meditative state, and sometimes like weed can help you out with that. Sometimes. Some people, won't do anything under the influence. Some people would advise against that. But again, the kind of bruja that I am, I'm pretty open to a lot of different things and experimenting. But yeah, there can be a correlation with that, depending on who you're talking to and what they practice.
What's the worst question to ask a witch?
The worst question to ask a witch?
One of the worst questions. Because as I was thinking of Karina leaving and then coming back like that, I was also thinking like obviously questions, but what is it like? Let's say if I were to go get a reading. Let's say if I were to ask you to give me a reading. I don't know. First of all, I don't know if questions are allowed. But what are bad questions? What are bad thoughts to come in with? What are things you shouldn't be expecting? Because again, I don't even know if the reading I got, which was that $5 from around the corner, telling me very generic stuff, was a good reading. How do I compare that? How do I prepare myself properly and make sure I don't get gypped like that again?
That's like a loaded question, man.
Yeah,
I do this.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I do this.
Okay, let me answer the first one.
Yeah, bad questions.
So one of the worst things, at least for me, to ask, if a person asks me, love spells. I hate that.
I hate that.
I hate when people ask me that.
Having someone
a lot of times, a lot of times people when they ask me that, they want to do it on somebody specific. And I don't like that.
Okay. You got Karina's interest.
If you want to do a love spell, I could totally understand, if you have an idea of the kind of person in terms of characteristics that you want. That is okay. That's something that I can do. But if you want something specific, on a specific person, no, don't do that. Don't.
But you can
somebody else with that, but don't do that to me. You can. Oh yeah, you can. But see, the thing is, I've heard a lot of bad stories. Many bad stories about that. My mom actually had a story where,
if you don't mind sharing,
do tell. She went to in Honduras. She went to a culandera. So culanderas they're actually healers, but sometimes you might say that they're witches. Huh?
I was just saying the word culandera.
Oh, culandera.
Yeah, it's a culandera. So they're healers, and she went to her, and she had a guy in mind she wanted to do a spell on. And she got the spell done. The spell worked.
Oh.
But it worked too well.
Oh.
The guy wouldn't leave her alone. She had to go back to the culandera and basically tell her to take the spell off.
Is it that easy?
Yeah, the culandera did it.
Is it expensive?
I don't know how she did it. I don't know how much she charged her for that. Some people can do love spells for a very affordable price. You just have to kind of know where to look.
For example, what's an affordable price for, let's say, a love spell?
Oof, that's difficult to say, just because it really depends on the complexity of the spell. But you wouldn't do love spells. Or you would, but just not to specific people, right? Not to a specific person. Yeah, not to a specific person.
How much would you charge for a general love spell?
A general love spell? Depends on the ingredients that I use or the tools that I use, but I would charge. You know what? That's a good question. I haven't figured out a price.
I was gonna ask you, have you ever charged anybody for?
I'd hope so. That's
charge for what? For spells or for readings? Because I do charge for readings.
You know, you charge for readings, but
I charge for readings. Spells.
When was the last time you charged someone for a spell?
I tend to do spells for myself. Not so much for other people. Not yet. Yeah, I tend to do readings more than anything, because if I'm doing a spell for somebody, I'm definitely putting a lot of energy into it. It's a case by case basis. Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
So there's no good and bad when it comes to that for you. There's just that she's
a good witch.
You're exhausting your own energy, and then that's where it becomes complicated.
Right. And also, some people just they ask for too much. They ask for way too much.
Selfish.
For example, what's a good example? I think there was somebody that wanted, they were talking about a money manifestation spell, but they were being, I want to say, okay, so whenever I tell people to ask for stuff from the universe, I always say be specific, but this person was just being unrealistic. They want a certain type of job, but they weren't willing to put in the work, and I was just like, you're doing too much. This is not going to work.
So what can you really ask for then? I guess the opportunity?
Yeah, you could ask for the opportunity. You can be specific, but it's just some people ask for stuff, but they're not willing to do the work. they just expect that you light the candle and it will just
gonna come,
pop up. Yeah, and it's just like that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that.
You have to work for it, towards it.
Exactly.
With that in mind, like you want it to happen.
The spell allows you the opportunity for it to come in, but you need to like recognize the opportunity and you need to like do the work.
So this is like almost like hardcore manifestation.
Yeah.
That's like manifestation, I guess.
That's like my expertise is like manifesting. Yeah.
That being said, now for me, I was raised Catholic. I guess I still am Catholic.
We were all raised Catholic.
Were we all raised Catholic here?
Yeah.
Were you raised Catholic, Tamar?
No, I was raised. My mother was. I was raised with Christian beliefs, but she was, I think, Pentecostal at one point. My mother like baptized in different Christian traditions or denominations.
Do you still practice that belief in any sense, or are you off of that?
Well, I never like got baptized in anything. I do have a strong relationship with like, I don't always use the word God. I use the word like universe or spirit, but to me it's like the same thing.
I feel that.
But there's sometimes where like I'll refer to like Bible stories when I'm like giving an example of something. So that's like the closest I get to it. Also, my name is in the Bible, so
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, it's in the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Okay. Now, with that being said,
wait, what's your name mean?
What does your name mean?
What does my name mean?
Yeah.
It's Hebrew and it means date palm. So like the dates, the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it means. But I think it also symbolizes prosperity as well.
Prosperity
and date palms.
So with that, mentioning the whole Catholic thing, because I got baptized, I got confirmed, I got
sacraments.
I got all my blessed sacraments.
Not all of them. Just some of them.
Is there more?
There's more.
Marriage.
You got marriage.
Is that?
There's also reconciliation if you're sick.
Oh, okay.
What?
Reconciliation.
This is nonsense.
Nah, he just mumbles.
It's not nonsense. Sorry. It's like that one is like an option. It's not something that you need to get. It's only if you do get sick. It's an option.
You know what, Hector? I hope Father Tierney doesn't hear this podcast. Okay?
Yo, that's crazy, man.
I hope he doesn't hear this podcast. All right? Because I don't want him to get tight at you. But that being said,
no, he actually does. It's not present anymore. So.
Oh, but he's still a priest.
But he's not like in my life like that anymore. So I mean, he was before, but
excuse me.
I'm not gonna be seeing him. I'm not gonna be seeing him.
So for us, there is a God or a higher being, right, or a spirit, etc. Like I understand exactly where you're coming from with the label. Or do you not? Or wait, do you not believe in God?
I'll play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do.
Is there? So Karina, you don't, right?
No.
Yeah, Karina doesn't believe in like God or etc. But that being said, is there like a God when it comes to brujeria? Or are you only going off of energy?
So
is it like a person you pray to or you have a ritual to, and then it helps with the manifestation, or is it just based off the energy that you conceive and you put out there?
So I do it based off of energy, because if you're going to pray to a deity, that's a whole different level. Because
pray to who?
A deity. Deity is a god or God. Deity,
okay.
That's another word for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when you're asking God or gods for stuff, that's when things like sacrifices come in. Oof. Yeah. Things like that, or offerings as well. So like certain gods require certain offerings.
What's the difference between a sacrifice and an offering?
They're kind of the same thing, actually.
Money as opposed to killing an animal.
Well, no, they're the same thing. They're the same thing. It's just I say offering to mean like other than a sacrifice. So like, I don't know, there might be like a god that requires oranges or something. Mm. So you need to get them the best orange. If not, you piss them off and then your spell doesn't work.
Whoa.
So I don't do that.
Backfire.
I'm not ready for that. I don't do that, yeah.
Is it because it could get messy real fast?
Real quick.
What? Wait, what?
Could that get messy real fast? Like, let's say dealing with someone with an offering. Well, I can imagine a sacrifice, whether it's like an animal or because I'm assuming a sacrifice doesn't necessarily mean have to be. Does it have to be a living being, or does it just mean sacrificing?
Yeah, it's a living being. I've never done any of that or like experienced it, but it's a living being. The idea
can it be like a plant? Serious question. I know. I saw how both of y'all looked at me. It was a serious question. Plants are only human beings, all right.
So when I'm talking about sacrifice, they need blood. Certain gods need blood.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
now I'm assuming that from your reaction, that's a tough subject. Why, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, that's a tough subject, just because I'm understanding to, there are people who, animal rights, obviously that's a total thing that, sacrifice is not even something you would talk about with them, but it's something that is, a lot of our ancestors did it, when it came to praying to gods and stuff. A lot of our ancestors did it. And it's a tough subject because there are a lot of, like in voodoo, there are sacrifices, and a lot of people kind of talk crap about it. And it's just like, that's their tradition,
right.
That's
would that be, is that old school brujeria?
Voodoo?
Or is that old school voodoo? No, I'm sorry. Well, doing sacrifices, is that old school?
Sacrifices that's as old as time.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, our ancestors, like way back, they've been doing that.
But it's a thing that's still being done to this day.
Yeah, it's still done to this day. Yeah, it's still done to this day.
Now, what's a situation where you can have like a gathering outside? Well, I guess a coven. Does a coven necessarily mean just witches, or can you have a coven and then you could have brujos and
visitors?
And I guess visitors.
It depends. Every coven is different.
Okay.
Every coven is different. Every coven has their own rules and stuff. So it depends. It depends on the coven.
Now, I don't know if this breaches like. Well, you're not part of a coven.
No.
Breaches confidentiality.
But because I'm curious, because like, from your research, what do they do as a group? What can you really do? Do you make like a spell stronger, or do you make like can you manifest better, like stronger energy towards whatever you're trying to achieve? Like, what can you do as a group in comparison to just
you can definitely do spells. You can definitely do spells. The energy is definitely stronger because you have more people. Also, covens tend to study together too. They come together with their books and stuff, or their knowledge, and they learn from each other. It's a way to have a community and a support, because there are a lot of witches like myself. We're solo, and sometimes you want to have like a person that you can talk to about stuff without sounding nuts to a regular person.
Have you ever had someone who claimed they were a witch? You started talking to them about it, and then there were certain signs you knew by that point, like, okay, that person's not a witch?
No, I haven't, thankfully, because if I did, I definitely would.
Yeah, because I'm assuming, because from the fact that I could tell it's kind of it's a sacred like society, and also kind of sensitive because there's a lot of taboo, there's a lot of stereotypes. Yeah, I can imagine you would want to hold that true to yourself. How should I take? I've been in a situation where I've gone a random reading, right? Like someone like had randomly told me how I am or how I was feeling or about the situation I'm dealing with currently. How do I deal with that? Because I was like, when I was hearing this person, I was like, is this true? Is this right? Is this real? Like, how do I deal with that?
And if you're questioning it, then maybe it's not.
Wait, you're saying how do you deal with
like having a random reading like that? Do I believe it? Do I not believe it? Like, how would I know it's the truth or not? Or if they're trying to send off a good energy or maybe a bad energy by telling me these things.
So you're talking about in terms of a reading. Like, are they telling something that's going to happen in your future?
They were kind of more so assessing.
I feel like in your sense, like that person was just telling you shit that you didn't ask for. So I feel like you wouldn't react to it.
You also experienced it, Hector. You were there.
I have bad memories, so wait, hold up. I have to think about this.
You were there when this happened.
A year ago.
We both dealt with
that. A year
that.
ago?
Yes, a year ago. Very soon, a year ago, we both had someone who fed us and gave us a kind of an assessment
Wait, they vetted you?
Fed us. They gave us food.
See.
Do you remember that? I don't want to say names and stuff because I don't want to put their name out there.
No, I remember.
So they
in that situation, we honestly didn't ask for that. That's just what she perceived of us, and I don't think it works that way. I feel like when it comes
was
to
it like a random person?
No,
it wasn't a random person, but it was.
Or like, I'm sorry, what I mean, like a random, like they just randomly told you so.
We were in their home.
Mm-hmm.
We were in their home. They housed us, and they were a kind energy, in my opinion. They were really great. And then they threw me off when they kind of fed me that assessment.
Yeah, I guess in a way to just make conversation, the person just started like telling us
because that was something they know of. But I was very interested. I was like, oh, it was not all. I don't know if it was all good things per se, but I guess there were just more so things I could relate to. How do I go off of that? How? Okay, I guess let me make it an easier question instead of just giving you a situation. Okay, let's say you gave someone a reading, right? What do they do with that?
So whenever I give somebody a reading, it's I tend to tell people tarot is like a guide. So some people will come to me about like a situation, right? And they don't know what choice to make. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll read for different choices and scenarios, and I just guide them by telling them, like, if you go down this path, this is what will happen. This is the advice for you. If you go down this path, this is what will happen. I try to guide people with my tarot readings. I try very hard not to predict the future. Well, sometimes it does happen. Right. I try to guide them because my thing is people should still make their own choice. Right. And they should still have, free will, and they should be able to choose what they want, which direction they want to go in. So that's what I try to do with the reading. I try to just guide them, and they make their own decisions. That way, that responsibility is not on me.
Yeah.
Now, someone like Hachi over here. Now, someone so my girl, every once in a while, she'll listen to like a person who will talk about. I guess they'll do like general readings and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. How does that compare to like, I guess, a personal reading?
So general readings, general. It can apply to anybody. Like sometimes I'll look at general readings, but a personal reading really looks at your energy. That's like a one-on-one. They can really read your energy. They can read, different things. It's tailored to you. It's tailored to you as opposed to a general reading, which, the reader is just reading for whoever the reading is for. Like, for example, I might look at like a Scorpio tarot reading. So they're reading for Scorpios, but I might not necessarily relate. Whereas if I get a personal reading, I know that reading is just for me.
Right. Now, do you, dang, I literally just lost the question that was in my, I've seen on Twitter, there was one gentleman who was advertising that he does readings. Now with COVID-19, it can't really be in person. It's usually virtual. Does the value increase or decrease of a reading, whether if it's, let's say, a Zoom call or if it's in person?
In person.
No. I do a lot of my readings via the phone, via video, usually. And I can still tap into the person's energy.
Do you think getting a reading is important? And why?
Yeah. Because sometimes you can be at a point in your life where you're like at a fork in the road, where there's like things going on and you just might need some guidance and clarity. And so tarot can offer that. It can even help you understand certain things that you don't get about yourself or about a situation. The cards usually tend to read you. So okay, I think it's definitely beneficial.
And is there ever such a thing as a redo? What if someone was, have you ever given a reading and they're like, I don't really like that. Can you read it again? Because, let me shuffle the cards back. And then you go, no, redo. Right? Yeah. Is that a thing? Has that ever happened to you?
No, and I would be real tight if somebody did that to me because I'd be like, we're not doing this. Not happening. The cards said what they said.
Right.
But I've had situations where I shared it was a really funny meme where it was, I think it's just something like when a person keeps getting a reading for trash relationships. Because that happens a lot.
Ooh.
That happens a lot where like someone will come to me and they want to read about somebody.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'll tell them like this person's not for you. And they don't want to take that advice. And then they come to me maybe like a week or 2, 3 weeks later, a month later, like, can I get another reading about this person? I'm like, dude.
What's the chance of it being the same exact result?
Most likely it's going to be the same thing.
Whoa.
Most likely. There's been times where the cards say the same thing. They might say it in different ways, like different cards, but usually the same thing. Sometimes it might change. Like, for example, there was someone that I knew that got a reading about a person and, you know, they were told not to like contact the person. They were told to like, you know, just like chill out. The person will come to you, like, you'll be fine. They didn't listen to that. They reached out to them.
Why are you making that face, Karina?
Thing.
You know, how much do you charge for a reading?
Yeah, how much do you charge for a reading?
I do 25 for 30 minutes and 50 an hour.
Why does the time matter? I guess
so for me, the time matters because, well, at least for me, a lot of people that come to me, they have different knowledge, like, or they have different experiences with tarot. So some people come to me and they just want a general reading, and I'm just like, we're going to look at what we look at and we'll see how much time elapses. And usually it tends to be 30 minutes or an hour. Usually I read for about an hour and a half.
So you're telling me that when I did $5 for 10 minutes, I wasn't getting gypped, or I was getting gypped?
I don't know.
You were getting gypped, bro.
Yeah.
You were gypped.
Because I've gotten gypped for a Nintendo Switch before, but I didn't think it was going to be for a reading.
I heard that episode. So sad. I'm so sorry that happened.
And you know what's crazy? Because Karina recently was like, yo, like, if they do PayPal, right? Like, I'll be good, right? And I'm like, yeah, PayPal is totally fine. Not Venmo, not Cash App, because you can't get your money back guaranteed, all right? So I had to make sure they were good.
Ooh.
But I guess you could learn more from an hour reading than what you can learn from a half an hour reading. How often should someone get a reading done?
As often as you need. If you need like a general, some people like, let's say, a reading done on their career. And usually for me, sometimes I might, like I said, I don't like to predict, but sometimes I'll see things like, oh, you have an opportunity coming in or whatever. And then when that happens, they'll get a reading from me about that. So sometimes they do readings to like update me on things. Some people like to get readings done every month. You know, it really depends on the person and like what they need in their life.
I've had an ex-girlfriend of mine give me stop looking at me, both of you, like that. They make fun of me because I've had a past of numerous ex-girlfriends. That one ex-girlfriend was very into.
See, I'm curious as to where your Venus is.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. Karina, do you know where our Venus is? Because
we're not the
That's
same.
not how that works.
First of all,
how does that
What time
work?
were you born?
7 o'clock-ish is what I've heard.
Oh, I can't do it off the top of my head. But like if you went to like, I don't know, cafe astrology or something, like if you had your computer in front of you and you figured it out, I could tell you.
I'm going to do this shit right now.
I'll do it.
Continue.
I guess I'll do it now too.
we're all checking our Venuses. Hold on, come on.
I know my Venus.
I don't know. I don't even know anybody named Venus. Like, it's just, this is what's confusing me, honestly. But I'll ask you a question while I'm trying to figure this out. How does cafe astrology work?
No,
Which is actually a good question. How does cafe astrology work?
You would go to, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like natal chart. It's the natal chart, like getting your natal chart. You have to know your birth date, your birth time, and birth location. Do you know that?
Oh my God, this is
okay. I got you, Eddin. I got you. Are you going at it? Or
you know what? Now you know what? Now you got me, Hector. I would be lying to you if I told you that I knew exactly. Are you doing good on time tomorrow?
Yeah. I'm
okay,
totally.
good.
I'm
all right. So
I'm Libra.
You're Libra Venus?
Venus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
It's the same thing I said to Hector, which is very romantic, but they can be indecisive in love.
You don't have to tell me twice.
What's your Mars though?
Let me see. Hold on.
There's gonna be a lot of editing on my part.
And when were you born? What year?
What year? 94. The year of the monkey.
Interesting. You said
That's
7?
not the year of the monkey. 94?
Yeah, is that not the year of the monkey? Have I been living
No,
my
I'm the year of the monkey.
Oh, the dog. Is it the dog?
Yes.
Oh, then never mind. So it's the dog. Whoops. I've been living my life a lie for the last maybe 8 years thinking that's the year of the monkey. Whoops.
So my Mars is in Cancer.
PM or AM?
Your Mars is in
Cancer.
Cancer? Okay, I actually have that placement too.
Interesting.
We can be very sensitive, sometimes passive aggressive, especially when we're mad.
Me?
Very sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, because Karina and I had a funny conversation about our friendship, and we were making our friendship stronger earlier today, and we were talking about passive aggressiveness.
I need to work on my passive aggressiveness and my sensitivity.
Same here. We agreed that we both need to work on that to better our friendship, because there was a day that I was passive aggressive. Can I say the story, Karina? Is that okay? Or I could just cut it out. It's
Oh, you can say it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So Karina makes the audio samples for the Too Much Internet podcast, right? So if you guys ever see that on Instagram, make sure you double tap and you go thank you, Karina, because she makes this, right? And Karina has advertised it to me that it only takes her 5 minutes to get this done. I go, right? And on Wednesdays, we drop that because it's marketing. It's, you put that out, and then, it's a nice sample for people to listen to, so that if they're interested in listening to the episode, they hear that, they go to the episode. Or on Thursdays, we drop the video, they watch the clip, they go watch the episode. So that being said, this week that passed, right? Karina asked me a question or whatever, and then I'm like, hey, did you do the sample? Because it was like 6 o'clock already, 6 p.m. And I usually like trying to post in the just early afternoon. I'm like, hey, did you do it already? And she said, no, right? I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, you're like, how long does it usually take for you to do it? Because she went to go walk her dog. I knew how long it took for her to do it.
He knows.
I know.
I've told him countless times.
She said this to me before. But I was asking because I'm over here like, in my head,
why isn't it done?
I'm like, why did you just, if it takes you 5 minutes, which 5 minutes is, let's say, a YouTube video. 5 minutes is like 2 songs. 5 minutes, it's the Virgo in me, clearly. 5 minutes, it's just 5 minutes, right? So, like, if you could do it in 5 minutes, why don't you just do it? Because you have to post it kind of early. And I knew I was being passive aggressive, so I like brought that up, and I was like, I'm really sorry for being passive aggressive, because I knew I was wrong there. But it was just so funny, like thinking about it, because I was like, dang, that was too much. It was just unnecessary, and I wanted to be a better friend and tell her that I realized that I was being a dickhead, and I apologized for it, and it was just funny. Does my action make sense to my sign in that sense?
For Virgo?
Me, I'm a Virgo, yeah.
See, that's why I'm curious to know like your Mars and like your Venus.
Real quick. You said 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Eddin?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born?
Where?
Bronx, New York.
Manhattan, so Harlem Hospital.
New York.
Yeah.
Bet.
Also, Karina, is that the Teletubby background?
Hell yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
I was like looking at it. When you look back, I was like, wait a minute. Is that what the Teletubbies is? That's so cute. That's cute.
Okay, what is all this? All right, so I see Zodiac Tropical, right? Oh my
See, look,
gosh.
if he knows more about this than I do, I would be fucking this website up.
What are we looking for again?
My Mars and my Venus?
Cancer.
Yes.
Mars in
Your
Cancer
Mars
or
is
Venus
Cancer.
in Cancer?
Mars is in Cancer and his Venus is in Libra.
There we go.
Oh, we have the opposite. Right?
Ooh. Y'all have the same one. Venus in Libra. Wait, what? Say that again.
Mars in Cancer and Venus in Libra. If
Same
I'm
one.
looking at this right.
My Mars is in
Cancer.
Libra. Is in Libra.
I thought you said it was in Cancer.
Look at your phone, Karina.
I'm so confused now.
You see, this is the 5 minutes you could have taken and look at stuff.
Wait, I'm curious.
So
What's his rising and his moon?
Let me see.
Thank you, Hector. I appreciate it. Because I would be messing this up.
Right, his moon is also Virgo.
Okay.
I don't know how to look for the rising in.
If
natal
you
chart.
scroll down, it should be. It's the ascendant. Do you see a term that says ascendant?
Ascendant.
See, I can't pronounce words like that. I start
Or
studying.
the houses.
Oh, I have to scroll down. Let me see.
Ascendant.
Yeah. I don't know what your
Sun is in Virgo. I'm on was it? Oh, I'm on Cafe Astrology actually. Oh, there's words here.
Scroll down.
There's a lot of information here, guys.
Okay.
Okay, no, yeah, I'm getting there. The moon is in Virgo. That's okay.
You got this,
It's good. I'm almost there, guys.
You got this.
This is a lot of information. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I would have been easily intimidated, and I would have gone off the website. Honestly, that
was me at 14, first discovering Cafe Astrology, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
Oh, so this is an OG site.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
OG. The ascendant is in Pisces.
Oh,
Ascendant in Pisces.
That's cute.
Oh,
okay,
that's cute. As a manly man who his ego is intact, I don't like knowing something's cute. What does that mean?
So ascendant in Pisces, you come off across as sensitive, artistic, not don't shade Pisces like that.
I'm shading myself. I always do this to myself. I always make fun of myself. I have to.
Yeah, but you don't shade Pisces by saying they're assholes.
No. I meant like saying. I meant like you said. You come off as. Or what did you say? Not Pisces and asshole. I was just filling in the blank and just putting asshole. Not Pisces.
I was about to say.
He comes off as an asshole.
I know nothing about signs, so we could go back to Capricorn. I'd be like, they like food. I would do this.
They like expensive food.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Capricorns can be bougie. But
oh my God. Say that one more time. Because this is the one that was born around December, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, say that one more time.
Capricorns can be bougie.
Yo, you hear that, Capricorn? You bougie. Just want to let that be clear. I didn't say it. Tamar said it because Tamar is just
don't be
she's dropping knowledge. You bougie. Yeah. So what does that mean? I don't know what that means at all.
What? That they're bougie or your vibe?
His ascending. His ascendant.
Yeah. So what does that mean to me? First, like.
So, your rising, your ascendant sign is how you come across to people. So, like when people meet you, that's like the first impression. So, like when people meet you and they don't know anything else about you, they might see you as artistic or sensitive, like a dreamer, in the sense of like getting your head lost in the clouds.
I can see that.
What else about Pisces? That's what I could think of off the top of my head. But it's interesting because Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. Mm-hmm. So you might come across the people. Yeah, you might come across the people in a way that's actually not true to who you actually are. Like
you deceive the shit out of people, man.
I believe that. I believe that. Because and obviously we're in a podcast right now, but in a public way, I've always told Karina and Hector, I keep my circle small. First of all, I keep my circle super small when it comes to my friends. I'm not, from what I can say about myself, I'm not really friends with someone if I can't jab at them and they just know I'm kidding. I'm not friends with someone if I can't tell you how I truly feel. I'm not really friends with someone if I almost just want to kind of cover everything for them and like not cover like put a blanket on me, like help them out or
like sugarcoat.
No. Like cover as in like let's say Karina has a $40 tab and I'm like, I got it.
Take care
of something like that. Like, take care of them. Yeah, like I'm cool with that. Or like what's mine is yours. That's easy for me when you're my friend. But if I don't know you, I can't trust you with my own stuff. Like that's just how I am. But I like to be friendly overall. Like I'd rather be very friendly. I won't let you know I'm upset. I won't do any of that. But when you're my friend, you will know I'm upset and I will let you know. That is a big thing for me. So I could see what both of them know when I'm upset. They know. I'll tell them it'll be like a big paragraph. I'll be like, yo, these are my feelings. And like, I'll let them know.
That's Mars in Cancer.
Does that make sense? That makes sense when it comes to
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Mars in Cancer too, so I'm like that. Sometimes when I get mad, you get a paragraph from me dictating all of my grievances, and then I go cry in a corner somewhere and come back, and I'm all right.
Oh, I cry on my bed. But that being said, Hector, you do have a word of the week, right? Or do you not?
I do have a word of the week.
Okay, so before we do that, Karina's birthday is coming up, right? I don't know if for a tarot card reading, if you could do it public or not, but I wanted to give her a reading. Is that possible in public? Is it possible?
Yeah,
to
like you mean like right now? Or you mean like when her birthday is? Trying to understand.
Right now, is that possible?
Yeah, I actually have my.
And I would.
Oh, are you
here.
ready?
And now it's also asking Karina. It's also asking
see.
Karina. And I have a question about that real quick before that. Yeah, Karina, would you want one? And is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would picture one because I want to make sure you're properly compensated for your time as well. And also make sure you guys hit her up. Where can they contact you really fast? And we'll go back to that in the end. But where can they contact you if they ever did want a reading?
If they want a reading, they can definitely contact my personal IG, which is 6MamaVoodoo9.
6MamaVoodoo9?
6 Mama Voodoo 9.
6MamaVoodoo9. Is there a significance for, not a joke, but like
69?
for the 6 and the 9? Is there a significance for that?
Child.
You know what's funny? I wasn't even thinking 69. I wasn't thinking 69 as like the sex position. I was more actually thinking of like Treyway 69 kind of stuff.
Oh, 69, that's crazy.
I really was wondering, like, does the 6 and 9 have a significance to you, and that's why you put that like that?
No, it was a sexual joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I would have never expected that. Okay.
I got that.
Yeah, so before you give her a reading and everything, and Karina, you say you're fine with that, and Tamar, you're cool with that? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I'll start shuffling my cards.
Cool.
For sure.
Now,
I'm
do you have
excited.
multiple decks of cards? Hector's birthday is in November, so I guess I could do this, but that's... We'll save this for later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
You don't have to.
Yeah, we have to give Karina a little special time, even though we always try to celebrate her birthday. Do you have only one deck of cards, or do you have multiple?
No, I have 8.
8 decks of cards.
Why so many decks?
Why so many, and do they matter of which deck you use for what day
They
and
look
etc.?
pretty.
Yeah, one is the art of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
One reason is the art of it. Also, different decks give off different energy. So, like for example, when I'm doing like a really complex like reading, like those hour readings, I'll do one deck where that's like the main cards, and then I have other cards that are known as clarifiers. So, like let's say I'll pull out one card from a deck, and then I'll be like, you know what, I want to look more into this, and then I use a different deck to draw cards for that one card.
Right.
Yeah. There are also some other decks that are like oracle cards. So, in tarot, you have decks like, for example, this one. I don't know if you guys can really see it, but they have like suits and stuff. So like the 52 card deck comes from tarot cards. Okay. So, you know, you have like your diamonds, your clubs, what is it, hearts and spades?
Aces and spades, yeah.
Yeah, so with a tarot deck, they have a similar like system, and then they have extra cards. But with oracles, that's more like if you want like advice, or if you're meditating on like a question, you can pull out a card and it will like give you like, I don't know. There's some like oracle decks that it might be in reference to like crystals. So like if you want to know what crystals to use, you just pull out a card from there and it will tell you. So there's different reasons for different decks.
Yeah, and I guess I wouldn't want you to go into it too far into the cards, because I know there's a lot of thoughts and there's a lot of practice when it comes to that. But I guess I'm curious, like, I guess things mean different things if they're upside down or stuff like that, right? And the order of the cards means something different too, right? Like
the order of the cards, where they're positioned. What do you mean by positioned? So like certain people have a certain spread, right? And they might, let's say they do like 3 cards, right? Next to each other. You can have those positions mean past, present, future. Okay. You can have those positions mean like, I don't know, love, career, and something else. So depending on the intention for the card, it could take on a different meaning. Okay.
Noted. Okay, so yeah, if you could give Karina a reading, that'd be awesome.
But Tamar has said that you do take about 30 minutes to an hour to
Yeah, I'm just gonna do 3 cards.
Whatever is easy for you.
Yeah, I'll do 3 because it's your birthday, so I'll do 3 different cards. Let's see. What I'm seeing right now is
I love the smile. I mean, but let's be quiet. All right. Yes.
I'm seeing a concern with like either finances or your resources, because one of the first cards you got was the 4 Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So like upright, that's like holding on to your finances and stuff, right? But like in reverse, it could either mean like, I don't want to say reckless spending, but like minding your money.
Okay.
Like minding your money.
I will stop spending. Okay, got it.
Yeah, just mind your money. You know, I don't know if like you're saving or anything, or like if you're working, but if you are, like, you know, focus on that. I also mentioned that like you're concerned about finances because I got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and that's like usually like a concern with like stability or what's another? You know, it's funny. Usually when I read like Queens, Kings, or any of that sort, I also read it as the person, and this is an earth energy, so like that's why I read it as you. So like your concern is with finances, but what I'm also getting, you also got the Queen of Swords, so communication.
That's so weird because I don't know why that card, whenever I think of tarot cards, I think of that card.
This one?
I don't know why. Yes, I don't know why.
Yeah, this one's a good card. I mean, this one is, so the deck that I'm using is the Modern Witch Tarot. So this is like a modernized version. So like in the traditional tarot deck, it'll look a little different, but in this one, it's more modern. But what I'm seeing here for you, Karina, is like having a concern with finances, like nothing too crazy, just like that might be on your mind right now, which would make sense because a lot of us are kind of concerned with finances with COVID. Oh, yeah. But what I would say for you is to focus on, like if you're looking for work or anything, like focus on your, on communicating, maybe like trying to see what that card means. You also might have like a person that like comes in that gives you like a financial opportunity. That person could be an air sign, because the Queen of Swords refers to an air sign. So Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe you might have a conversation with somebody. Or you might do like reaching out through communication, through emails. What else? Texting. Okay. But I see, that's what I see right now, just with 3 cards.
Would it be hard to do that 3-card read for the rest of us?
Stop.
Wow. No. You have to do it if you want.
No.
It's up to you guys.
Asking.
But you will obviously be compensated properly. But if Hector's comfortable, I'm comfortable with it. But if you're comfortable and then Hector's comfortable, and if that's possible, it would be really appreciated, because now I'm even
so
more
curious about your own.
But do Hector, please.
Do you want me to use the same deck or a different one?
You surprise me is a terrible thing to say to somebody, I feel like.
Surprise me.
But you know what? For the hell of it, I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but how about a different one? Sure.
A different one? All right. Wait, who wants the next reading?
I guess I want the next reading.
Let's do Hector.
Okay. I'm just trying to look for my...
Which would be the best deck to use on Hector?
Yeah, what's the best deck to use?
I have an idea of a deck to use. That's why I'm looking for it. I'm going to use...
Oh, every time I think of deck, I can't help but think of like having like a Blue Eyes White Dragon or something like that.
Yu-Gi-Oh? Thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh?
That's like my immediate thought. For some reason, I'm imagining you about to go like this and like pulling out a card. I don't know why. That's just my initial sight when I think of decks.
Yeah,
what I'm actually going to use is... What is it called? This is called Tarot of the Cat People.
Tarot of the Cat People?
Of the Cat People. Yeah, this is actually the first deck that I ever like started doing readings with.
Ooh, okay.
I actually bought it at a shop. But basically it's really cool. It has like its own story and stuff. But basically the people in every card there's like cats.
Okay.
So I like cats. So it's just cats. Also,
do you have a pet cat?
Cool. I don't, because I'm allergic.
Oh, okay.
I know, and I really want I actually did used to have a black cat.
That's cool.
And it's always been my dream to have like 3 black cats. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Is that black? Is the black cat crossing your path a real thing?
For some people it is. Some people think it's bad luck. Some people think it's good luck. It depends on the culture.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it depends on the culture. I've actually had a few black cats cross my path and actually come up to me. Yeah, so I never think of them as like bad luck or anything there.
I mean, how did that come across? Like, why is it that a black cat is the one that symbolizes
I'm not sure, but I think it might have to do with, some cultures just unfortunately have a negative connotation with the color black.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Some cultures, so they associate that. It's also the same thing. Some cultures, I forgot which, but a black dog is also seen as unlucky. Even in this country, actually, black cats and black dogs are the least adopted because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're the least adopted because of that. So it's unfortunate.
Not to Karina. Every dog is the same for Karina, right, Karina?
Right.
And cat.
They're all babies.
Yes.
She really. I don't know how many episodes you've listened to, of how much you know about Karina, but Karina loves
Obsessed with dogs.
Loves
Obsessed
dogs.
with dogs.
Loves
Obsessed.
Yeah.
All right, let me see these cards say. What I'm seeing for you, Hector, is...
I don't want to see it.
Whenever she says that, I'm not gonna lie, I brace myself. When I'm seeing for you, I'm like.
So okay, it looks like you have like a lot of major change coming your way, and I'm saying that it's good though. It's good. So this is the first card. Can you see it?
It's a guy holding a wheel.
Yes, it's the Wheel of Fortune. It's the Wheel of Fortune. So that's like,
I love that show.
I like that show too. I do. That's like change coming your way, but it's good. There's something that's already happening or on its way that is like a good change for you. The thing I'm getting though is you might be apprehensive about taking that. Like I say that because you have the Hangman in reverse. So you might be like hesitant. You might even be like delaying it from your end. There could be some fear too when it comes to this change. But like I said, it's a good change. And the final card that you got is the Magician, that's a card, that's actually a manifesting card. So I don't know if like you've been wanting something to happen or like, I don't know, with your career or like anything in general, but there's something that you've been wanting for a while or working on that's like on its way to you. I just think it seems like you're fearful of it though. Like for example, these cards, when I was mentioning the 52 card deck and how in tarot they have suits, there are other cards that are known as major arcana cards. And those cards, they don't have suits. They're basically these. You have 3 major arcana cards, which is really, really important. It basically like shows you turning points in your life or like themes. So like that's what I'm seeing here with you. So
that's not crazy. That's interesting.
I've been fearful of any kind of change all my life. So
I mean, you just had a major change.
I know. And you can hear how noisy it is. I'm right here by the damn road.
You moved to a new place. So that's like...
Oh, yeah, I deal with that too. I'm right next to an avenue and it's always noisy.
Yo, like I went from a really quiet house to like noise every day. And
how do you deal with that?
I don't know. I kind of tone it out. It's whatever. Like it doesn't really bother me, I guess. And then my cousins are like all here coming in and out. I'm like, yo. Yes.
That's wild. Now thinking about it.
Yeah. So that's what I see. Do you want me to use the same deck?
Eddin?
Or the other one?
What do y'all think? Do I do the same deck or a different deck?
Same.
Let's do the same deck.
I feel like since you're a Virgo, you should go with the
one that I
Karina had.
Oh, does that make sense?
No.
It's up to you. It's totally up to you,
honey.
How about, you know what? I like this. How about you use your least favorite deck?
My least favorite deck? I don't have a least favorite deck. They're all special to me.
What's one deck you haven't used for a while then? Or is that also tough too?
A deck that I haven't used for a while. There's actually a deck. I'll give you this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right from the altar.
Yeah, you get the deck
from
from the altar.
Oh.
You get the deck that actually was charging with the crystal as well.
So what does that mean?
No.
Is it enhanced?
Oh,
Sometimes
no.
it does, yeah. This is a good crystal though. No, this is a good one. This is a healing crystal. So
what if the readings are like?
Oh, don't do that, Hector.
I'm playing.
Don't do that.
I'm excited. Let's hear it.
Because even Tamar's face was just stuck for a minute, and it was just like.
Don't put that energy out there. Don't do that.
Yeah, so I guess you know what's funny. When you said earlier manifesting and the energy, I realized. I mean, obviously it's word choice as well.
Right.
But yeah, like speaking about it now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm now feeling like to be more conscious about how to speak about things because I had a heart to heart with Karina earlier, and I said the same thing. I was like, you know what, I gotta be more conscious of my word choice.
Yes,
and
you
like,
do.
and so like I'm not like having people feel bad, or even if there's something that I feel like is a certain way, it can't be. Obviously, it can't be the same thing for the other person, but I can feel a certain way, but not like be harmful about it. So that's even manifesting things for my own accord. It's thinking about that.
Word choice is definitely important. Like sometimes, even think about like when a person asks you, "How are you?" and be mindful of the things you say, because like that's basically programming. Like some people I know, I'll talk to them and they're always in a messed up situation. They're always just like, I'm broke or I'm this and I'm that. And it's just like, well, you're saying that. So
do you think
that's what you're going to manifest in your reality?
Like, let's say with my friends, I'll usually tell them what the tea is. I'll use that.
The tea.
Do you think that's wrong? Do you think I should never? I mean, how are you doesn't necessarily mean I'm always bad, but I guess I'll usually result into letting them know what's the tea or I guess also
what's the negatives going on in your life currently instead of like the positives.
Like I think I'll say both, but do you think telling somebody the tea or letting somebody know of the negatives is a bad thing?
No, I just think you have to be mindful of your intention. That's really what manifesting comes down to also is intention. What's your intention with that? Right. Is your intention just to inform them and to just vent? That's fine. Some people have the intention for people to feel pity, and that's what they get. That's their situation. But in that case, you're just venting. Like you're not meaning anything by it.
Just don't text me back, but that's a different story.
You text back? What you mean?
I'll get a random meme from one of them, or Hector will be like, "That's crazy!" 3 exclamation points, and I'm like, "All right, good combo, Hector."
Oh man, I
just want to say Tamar did not laugh at that joke because she's looking at the cards and it's giving.
I am looking at the cards.
It's giving me a fright. She's like,
because like whenever I look at a card, like one of the first things I do is like I read the number, I read the suit, and then I read the art on the card.
Okay.
And then I like what I'm doing when I'm doing that is like I'm also, it won't sound weird, but I'm like picking up on your energy. Like I'm kind of doing like a transference.
Not that. I mean, to me that doesn't sound weird. I don't even think it would sound weird to these guys either. That's cool. I feel that weird.
Yeah, it's just some other people are just kind of freaked out by that. They're like, "What?" And I'm just like, "I'm reading your energy. Like I have to project myself into kind of your energetic field."
Our energy is open to you.
Thank you. I was looking at the first card, which is the wheel. So similar to the Wheel of Fortune, with Hector, you have a new situation or how can I put this? You have like a new, it's more like a new adventure.
Okay.
It's like you're in a new chapter, like in your life. Actually you did mention you're going to be an uncle soon. I just realized that. Yeah, you're like in a new chapter in your life. But what I'm seeing is the next card is the 6 of Cups in reverse. And that usually has to do with like childhood. But there's kind of like some, I don't want to say fears, but like, I don't know if you're like looking back at your childhood somehow, maybe like thinking about things from your childhood or reflecting on it.
Thinking about it.
Trying to, I don't want to say like you're looking at like negative things from your childhood, but like you even might be healing from some stuff.
I think if it's in relation to that card in any sense, I've like I have like bad anxiety. So like I'll like think about the stupid things I did as a kid and be like and be like, ugh, like I'll like do that. Or like I'll see like Facebook memories. I said this on the tweet before. I'll see Facebook memories and I'm like, ugh. Like just the things I've said as
why did I say that?
Yeah, like as a high schooler or as an elementary school kid, I'm just like, this is some kid shit to say. So yeah, I could relate in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it's next to that wheel. So I feel like whatever new change you're going through, whatever new chapter, it is triggering that, or it's gonna trigger that.
Okay.
You might like start thinking about like, you know, things that you did in your past or like just memories and stuff. And I kind of get like healing from this card, even though it's in reverse. Sometimes people read it like in a negative way. I kind of get healing from it.
Right. And
the next card that you got is the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. That's more like, I don't want to say charitable energy, but it's like in upright, this is like despair, right? Like this is kind of like despair, depression when it comes to finances. In this sense, it's the opposite. It's almost like it's kind of weird to say you're open financially because that makes no sense, but it's like when it comes to your resources, actually, you might be even a bit more generous or more open.
Okay, I feel that.
This is not something this is something I'm seeing coming up.
Interesting. Now, okay, so now we each got our readings, which we appreciate. Thank you so much, Tamar.
You're welcome.
Now, thank you.
What's the best approach for a reading like that? Or for everyone's, like what? So we heard what we heard, right? From the 3-card reading. Now, in manifestation, right? Does that mean keep those cards in mind for every action I do, or look out for everything? What do you do with that? You know what I mean?
I don't want to say look out for everything. Just like keep if I give you any advice, keep that in mind. Like for example, when I was reading the card for Hector, the Hangman in reverse, I was telling him like you might be apprehensive. So like that's something he could look out for. Or like I was telling you, there's an event or you're entering a new chapter where like you'll be thinking about your past, you know, your childhood. So like those are just like, sometimes I call them like markers. Like, those are things to look out for. Because, you know, if you're looking for signs everywhere, then it kind of defeats the purpose of the reading because some people read too much into stuff. So it's just more of like, keep whatever resonates with you.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Keep whatever resonates with you.
Wonderful. And guys, make sure that if you do want to get a reading from Tamar, you hit her up on her personal IG. 6
Mama Voodoo 9.
6 Mama Voodoo 9 on IG. Is there any other way to contact, or is that the best way?
The Bruja Podcast as well. I run the social media there too, and I also have multiple Instagram accounts. I realized. I just realized that somebody told me the other day that like you have so many accounts, and I'm like, yeah, mind your business.
How many do you have?
I technically have 5.
Okay.
But there's 4. Yeah, see, I get that face. That's what I get. I get that face, and I'm just like, mind your business. Like I have 5.
That's right, Hector.
But there's also a page that I have that is in connection with the Bruja Podcast, which is the modern day Bruja. That's like where you really see like a lot of my work, like spell work, manifestation stuff that I do, memes. You can also contact me there too.
And so you're available Zoom, phone call, FaceTime.
Zoom, phone call, FaceTime, IG video, any way that works for the person.
Like texts and messages are fine too?
Yeah, I also do text. Yeah, actually, I think it was, when was it? It was yesterday. I had like 2 or 3 readings back to back, and one of them was a voice note reading. So I gave a person a reading through the voice note. Yeah, I'm pretty flexible.
Nice. Okay. Now, before we go, and thank you so much, Tamar, for being here and spending your time with us. We really, really appreciate it. We do have Hector to let us know what is the word of the week.
The word of the week.
Tell us, Hector, what is the word of the week? And I'm so curious because Hector does not tell us what it is until the day comes. And I was like, Hector, are you going to relate it to Tamar and what she does?
I made an effort to make it related to what Tamar does, because you know witchy stuff. And so, so the word of the week this week is retrograde.
Okay, retrograde. That's
Retrograde.
great. Okay. All right.
So retrograde is what is it? It's a flow that's directed or moving backwards. That's what it is, like the actual word. So like the way you can use that is like, I actually read this. It was funny that was like one of the news articles that came up like on my Google was that Uranus is actually in retrograde today. So yeah.
Why'd you make that face, Tamar?
No, I laugh because of
Uranus.
Because I was laughing at Uranus. I'm not gonna lie.
Uranus.
Yeah, that's why I pronounce it. I pronounce it Uranus. I pronounce it Uranus. I just laugh.
Siri's trying to do some shit. Okay. Damn it, Siri, stop. Okay.
You're triggering all the series.
Yeah, it keeps triggering. I was contemplating whether to say it the right way or the
Uranus or Uranus.
Yeah, the way you said it. Yeah.
Uranus is.
You just can't help but to giggle at Uranus.
Yeah.
Now, retrograde, that's a dope word because I've had people on my timeline who they're like, oh, Mercury has to be in retrograde. What does that mean?
Yeah. I was waiting for that question. So a retrograde is basically, it's an optical illusion because the planets don't move backwards. From our vantage point, Mercury is the one that you can see. So basically it looks like it's making like a backward motion and then it continues to move forward. So retrograde is basically a period where, and it depends on the planet's orbit and all that. So like Mercury is usually in retrograde 3 times during the year.
Right.
And I think it's like, I forgot how long it is, but it's basically a time period when you should be doing reflection. And any word that's an RE, I always say that because retrograde starts with RE, reflecting, revisiting, reevaluating.
Revelating.
Maybe it's more like, it's more like looking, it's more like going inward because when the planet goes retrograde, the energy turns inward. So like, for example, you were mentioning one of the planets that was in retrograde. There's actually, I think, 4 planets currently in retrograde right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pluto's in retrograde, Neptune's in retrograde, and Saturn is in retrograde.
Serious question. Super serious question.
Mm-hmm.
With our educational system and science and astronomy,
oh my God,
they've classified Pluto as not a planet.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And does that make sense? Why would you be upset about Pluto not being a planet? Because I guess it's like a moon or a dwarf planet or a dwarf star.
Dwarf planet.
Oh, there you go. So what's the big deal? It's just a planet.
It's just a planet, but okay, so I'm a Scorpio, but like I'm like a heavy Scorpio. Like I'm really Scorpio. And Pluto is one of the planets that rules Scorpio.
I'm a heavy
Virgo. You're a heavy Virgo?
Yeah, he meant to wait. Don't listen to him.
Very heavy Virgo.
Damn.
You were saying he was talking with his nonsense.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Poppycock.
Sorry. Oh yeah, it's like another word we learned from the word of the week, which you should also check out every Friday that we make the post. Sorry, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but I was gonna say like me so like this is like advanced astrology, but like the planets, when you look at your birth chart, it's like a wheel, right? And the planets fall in different areas. Mm-hmm. And for me, Pluto falls in an area that like you can really see it in my personality. I'm trying to like figure out how to explain it without confusing y'all, because I can get real deep when it comes to astrology. But basically, I really like Pluto, and I'm tight that it's not considered a planet. Let's just put it that way.
That's a good. No, I could tell from the way you're speaking, you like to be very mindful of your words, explaining it in terms that are maybe a little easier to the public, and you don't like to confuse anybody, and that's more of your strategy and the way you talk. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. But I feel that's
totally true. That's totally true. Like even on the podcast, there are times where I'm like, you're talking a lot about astrology and you're getting real complicated. Like just kind of help them understand it, and then if they want to do more research, they can do that. But I like to make it as digestible as possible.
Now, with Metro. I was gonna say Metro and
Metro
Gatorade.
section.
I'm dumb. With Mercury and retrograde.
Retrograde.
Mercury and retrograde. Excuse me. Right. I'm trying so hard to get this question out. So people always associate that with such a bad thing. Because I guess, like you said before, it's an optical illusion. It looks like it's going backwards, but Mercury is the one that's in our view, right, from Earth. Okay. Why is that so taboo? Is it because it's going backwards? Is that like
No, what it is because there's two things. So when Mercury goes retrograde, if I'm remembering my astronomy class correctly, it is closer to Earth's magnetic field, if I'm remembering that correctly.
I've heard something like that before, yes.
Yeah, so when that happens, a lot of times they tell you, like, when Mercury's in retrograde, don't buy electronics. Don't sign contracts. If you can, don't do that. Don't make any major purchases. When it comes to electronics, because it's close to Earth's magnetic field, it messes with electronics. Things break down. Your computer breaks down sometimes. Physically, that happens. But from a standpoint of like personality, a lot of times you can have communication breakdowns because Mercury rules your communication and how you think. And a lot of times when it's in retrograde, that's when a lot of arguments happen. Sometimes you could be doing a project and like you forgot to save it and you have to redo it.
The file gets corrupted. I know that feeling.
Yeah. So like things like that happen.
Hold up, Tamar. I have one last question before we peace out.
Yo,
follow you. Yo, hold on.
We're at 2 hours, bro.
Our Zoom. It's a worth it 2 hours in my opinion. Again, we are really appreciative of your time. So our Zoom stopped last week. Our Zoom stopped. So with any of these planets being in retrograde, because I'm assuming, is it just Mercury, and then that's what that means with.
Like if Uranus is in retrograde.
Does it? Yeah, Uranus.
Was it Sunday?
So, do you think there might have been a correlation there? Because we never, ever had a Zoom call cancel on us. And my Wi-Fi has never been out during an episode. Knock on wood. Again.
This was last week.
This was this week. Technically,
it was this week.
This week.
Yeah.
This week.
Wednesday. This week Wednesday. No,
it was on
this week
Monday.
Tuesday.
Monday.
Oh, Monday.
It's my dad's birthday.
No, not Monday. Oh, it was Monday.
It was my dad's birthday, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, because that was the first time. Yeah, sorry.
Well, Mercury wasn't in retrograde, so
it doesn't correlate.
No.
It wouldn't be that. But what I was going to say was with the other planets, specifically Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, those are considered generational planets. And what that means is they really affect the whole generation and they take time to really see its effects because the orbit takes longer to go around the sun. So that energy is more stretched out. Mercury is very quick. It's a quick planet.
Jesus, you know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I studied this since I was 7.
Since you were 7, right? Wow.
I was 7
So as
years
you can
old.
tell from this whole episode, she has all the knowledge that you may need to know when it comes to your cards and your readings and astrology. So make sure, let us know where to contact you. All the websites, the Instagrams, every Instagram.
Just plug all the goods.
Instagrams, yeah, all the goods.
All of my
goods.
Instagrams, all of my private accounts.
I'm going to have to put all the Instagrams. This is the ones, that are relevant to you.
The best way to contact you.
And about your podcast and everything else.
Wait, you want me to do that now? You want me to tell it to you? I thought you meant like text it to you or something. Like you could put it.
Let the people know,
so
because I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of our listeners definitely would hit you up to find out what's really good in the Uranus.
In the hood.
In the hood. I'm done.
Come on.
So the Bruja Podcast, that's the first one. Mm-hmm. You can also hit me up at the Modern Day Bruja and 6 Mama Voodoo 9. So the number 6 Mama Voodoo and the number 9. Mm-hmm. And that's it, because I'm not giving y'all my email or anything like that. So y'all can just DM me.
Bet.
Maybe.
When should we expect the next episode of the Bruja Podcast?
She has left. All right, bye guys.
Did she
pause? Okay. I thought that was a bad question. I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
It's like, how dare you ask that?
Or maybe this is a sign for us to stop the episode. Tamar, are you there?
I mean,
Maybe
it's
her
2
phone died.
hours.
But how about this? Maybe we'll take this as a sign. But Tamar, thank you. You'll hear this later, but we're really appreciative of you being here. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow her on all her socials. And if you guys want to get a reading, if you guys want to,
There you go.
there you go.
Oh, you're
Hey,
back.
there you go. Good.
You're
I was
so
about to
scared.
say, I was like, Mercury's not in retrograde. What's going on?
Yo, right? Yo. Yeah, I was like,
You
wait,
froze-
this is a
You
sign?
froze on my end, and I was just like, what's happening?
Yeah, you froze on our end. You were just frozen. It was just your face, like, because he asked the question and then you froze. So it was like he asked a bad question.
Yeah. Needless to say, I was just curious enough to let everybody know. Make sure you go follow Tamar on all her socials. Make sure you hit her up, get your reading done, and make sure you tune in to the Bruja Podcast. And this has been another episode of the Too Much Internet Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.